Hello, viewers. I hope you're doing great this afternoon. I am also wonderful. Writers, especially story writers, have decided to handle emerging issues. Things like HIV and AIDS, environmental conservation, and domestic violence. Today, we will be looking at one such writer in the anthology of our discussion, A Silent Song and Other Stories. The story will be drawn from Tanzania, the writer Eric Maryo. The story Ivory Bangles. In this story, the beginning cuts a figure of a man who is worried. The man is anxious. From the way the man walks, the story begins. His legs walked, taking him to his house and its compound and the surrounding banana grove. But his mind wandered. Why is this character worried? The character is worried because he has gone to see a seer. The news given to him by the seer is alarming. He had slaughtered a goat, and in slaughtering a goat, he had found specks of blood in the liver. The seer continues that something awful is going to happen. His wife is going to die. And the seer says that the pebbles that he had consulted said that the spirits are jealous. Why? The spirits are jealous because the man's wife has not been beaten since marriage. She is happy and unmolested. So then, the man asks the seer, what can be done to avert such a situation? The answer is quite categorical. And the man answers that the pebbles demand that the man beats his wife. And not only that, after beating, to send the wife back to her parents. Though with deep-seated suspicion, the man receives this news. Why? The seer is like a tribal seer, and the seer is also a priest in this community. The man goes ahead to even ask if there is a way out that he can appease the spirits. Maybe by giving one of his numerous goats. There is a repetition of the message from the spear to highlight, to emphasize that there is no way out. The seer reiterates that the only way out is the man beating up his wife and sending her back to her parents. The man is grieved. The man is grieved because of the kind of love, the mutual understanding, and the mutual respect that he has enjoyed with his wife. And we are taken through flashback how the man and the wife have enjoyed quite a spectacular love life. The man's wife removes the leather sandals from her husband, moves him behind the house to a lintel, bathes him, and rubs him with a sharp smelling ungent smell as a show of how she is concerned and how she cares for the man. The woman also comes out as composed and reasonable. When the man wants to tell her the story or the news by the seer, then we see the man, we see the woman being reasonable by telling the man that he should wait and eat first. That is when he tells her that news. The woman is also trustworthy and dependable, and that is the reason why the man offers to disclose to her the contents of the message by the seer. And by the way, it is not easy to disclose to someone who it is demanded of you to beat, to tell them that you are required by the spirits to beat her. So that one implies how trustworthy the woman is. Through the use of the dialogue between the man and his wife, we get to see an inextricably intimate relationship between them. Through the use of vivid description, the writer writes that the woman pulled a piece of firewood, cracked it in two slivers, pulled off some loose shavings, and arranged the tinder and firewood over the coals. Small flames leapt at the shavings, caught the wood, and illuminated the worried look on the old man's face. Then again, trying to create that atmosphere, the writer goes on by saying, the leaping flame of the dying fire caught her smile, and her white teeth were made whiter by the beauty gap of two lower teeth. She could still be like a girl. In the kind of conversation they have and the vivid description of the atmosphere, we see a loving couple. Again, the man, when he wants to address the wife, then the man calls the wife a girl. The old man said to his elderly wife, girl, I have something I had today. So, inasmuch as the old woman has come of age, the man still reminisces their good old days when the woman was a girl. The woman, on her part, endearingly refers to the husband as the son of the chief and wishes him long life. The verbiage by the two also show a happily married couple. Again, it is interesting to see how the love between this old couple really tries to challenge the culture of this society. Number one is of wife beating. An aspect of this society's culture is that there should be a ritual beating of the wife. But the man in the story has never, even on a single occasion, beaten the wife. Again, there is a conversation that ensues between the man and the chief. And this one comes after we are introduced to the curriculum vitae of this man. This is what the writer has to say about this man. The writer says, the man was a woodcarver and a son of a woodcarver. He was a good warrior and a very brave one at that. He had been made the chief's counselor when he was relatively young. That had been during the present chief's father's reign. His still was the chief counselor, even presently. Much respected, but also much talked about because he had only one wife, and a counselor was like a small chief. So it was unheard of for a chief to have just a single wife. When the chief asks him why he only has a single wife, he answers through the use of a riddle. And by the way, in Africa, stories have been told from time immemorial. So when the written literature came and Africans now started writing stories, it was as if the art of telling stories, the oral literature, was lost. But then African short story writers like Eric Maryo, in his story Ivory Bangles, try to infuse the orature material. That is why he makes the men to reply to the chief in a riddle. This is the riddle that he poses. A woman went to the riverside. The woman wanted to fetch water. The woman arrived at the water point. The woman found another water pot. The woman came back home with a pot. The woman brought back a water pot with potsherds in, not water. So maybe when he goes to the market to maybe shop for another wife, the man fears that just as the woman who went with the water pot to the water point came back home with the water pot having the potsherds and not water, maybe he can also come back home with just some woman to create the aesthetic value of the home, but not really the value that a woman should bring to a home. So, through the love between the man and the woman, we see them try to challenge the cultural aspects of wife beating, and they challenge the cultural aspects of polygamy. So then it means that even in a polygamous society, with love between couples, with mutual understanding and mutual respect, someone can still manage to be monogamous. And the man does not really want to bow down or to bend down to the expectations of the society. During the name day of their one and only son, the man also gives to his wife ivory bangles. In her hands, in each of her hands, she has 8 bangles. On her legs, she has 4 each. In total, they are 24. Etched on the ivory bangles on her hands are mnemonic marks of a long love song to show just how much the man loved the wife. When the chief asks him about these bangles, then he confesses that he had killed an elephant with a poisoned arrow, and just as it is the custom, he brought the tusk to the chief and, as a cover, carved the ivory bangles for his wife. As we continue with this story, viewers, allow me to ask you to take just a single second, press that subscribe button so that anytime we produce videos like this, YouTube will notify you. Again, give us that thumbs up so that this video could be recommended for many other viewers, such that they can also benefit from the contents of this channel. Thank you very much. As we continue, we also see that the man's wife is quite responsible. She washes the utensils, sprinkles the water on the earth, throws a piece of cow dung into the coals for this to preserve the fire until morning. So this could be the reasons as to why the man feels that the wife has always been so good to her, and he does not really feel that he should give her the ritual beating. Finally, when they go to bed and the man tells the woman about the seer, the words of the seer, then the wife drops a bombshell. The wife tells the husband that what the seer is trying to do is just an inadequate ploy at avenging her rejection of him. The man, coming out as a conservative, tells the woman angrily that the seer is just the mouthpiece of the spirits, and then adds that it was not the seer who placed the blood specks on the goat's liver, that bringing out the man, inasmuch as he loves the wife, that brings him out as someone who is conservative and is still keen on following the rituals of the land. Later on, the man goes to work, and the wife, with a plan and a scheme to have another way out of the conflict that they now find themselves in, goes to the market. At the market, she hears news about elephants roaming the village. They had been seen near the forest, and another person says that they are now moving down the plains. They have devastated the young plants. There are people with poisoned arrows who are trailing them. Through poisoned arrows, many can be killed. And let's not forget that the woman's husband also killed an elephant using the poisoned arrows to give the woman the ivory bangles that is now clanking in her legs and in her hands. At this point, the woman then reveals her scheme. Her plan is to go back home from the market, cook for her husband, and move to her brother's home. Her brother is now the custodian of their homestead after the death of their father. She means to go back to their home, claiming that her husband has beaten her. After that, she believes that her husband will go after her. When her husband gets to her home, then she will refuse to go back with him to their matrimonial home. After that, there would be negotiation between the husband's clan and her clan. Then a fine would be imposed on the irascible husband. When this is done, the reconciliation beer would be drunk, and then she would finally go back to her matrimonial home. She believes that after this, the spirits would be fooled, and that would be a way of settling the situation. But the woman does not know what is in store for her. After leaving the market, getting to her home, and cooking, we see her proceeding to the grove that she just dug 3 weeks ago with the help of her daughter-in-law, Leveri. And something also very interesting about the daughter-in-law, Leveri, is that Leveri had been beaten by the man's only son to a point that she was just a fingernail's distance to her grave. So it's interesting to see the difference between the man and the son. The man does not beat the wife, but the son beats the wife. And that one also adds something to the culture of this society. It is this man whose principle has really surpassed the expectations of the culture of the ritual beating. As she weeds, the voices of the scouts who are perched on trees and who are cautioning people to move into the houses grows fainter and fainter. And without knowing, an elephant strikes. It comes, and it is metaphorically compared to a dark house. Out of nowhere, the elephant lifts her bodily, puts her on the ground, and repeatedly stamps on her. Later on, she is found in her shallow grave, a mass flesh and blood and shattered ivory bangles. So the woman finally dies. Someone, or the man himself, would say that the words of the seer have come true. And could be, wherever he is, he could be blaming himself for not giving his wife a ritual beating and sending her back to the parents as a way of averting the tragedy. But love clouded his eyes and he did not do that. Another thing that Eric Ngmario also wants us to see from this story is that in most societies now, the world over, poaching, mutilating the environment, and whatever is found in the environment has been outlawed. It has been outlawed by most countries, by most constitutions. So, this story could also be an indictment at the art of poaching and mutilating the environment. And it could be emphasizing the need to conserve the environment. Eric Ngmario punishes the man and his wife. Previously, the man had killed an elephant, and out of that elephant, that is where the man carved an ivory bangles for the wife. So, when the wife finally dies at the end of the text, it comes out as a chastisement of the man for killing elephants or for poaching. So it tries to, when we are studying literature, then we study it on the basis that vices are normally punished and virtues are rewarded. So then the vice of poaching, the vice of mutilating animals in the forest is punished by the death of the woman who is donned in ivory bangles. That is the story, Ivory Bangles, for you. Let me hear what you have to say about the world of spirits, the world of seers, the world of soothsayers. Do you believe in them? Do you believe that the woman died as a result of the alarming words of the seer? Or is it just a mere coincidence that the woman had to die? Thank you very much, viewers, for your support. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for always viewing this video. This channel is wherever it is because of your support. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.